Today, this video is going to be all about sales. Why sales? I have a lot of experience in sales. I feel like the majority of time I've ever done sales, I've really sucked at it for a long time, well over a decade. I felt I sucked at it, and I'll get more on that later, right? I got a little story. So this is about the largest sale I ever closed. Okay. I worked for a mold company and basically was in charge of traveling around the United States, going to the one percentile of people in the U.S. that is actually deathly sensitive to mold, to the point where they have, other body ailments going on. And they end up with Lyme disease, you name it. It's very interesting, but there's apparently about 1% of the U.S. society or population that is so sensitive to mold that their body shuts down and they could literally die. So I was working for this company, really prestigious in that sense, and I'm down in Tampa, right? So I got to go to San Francisco. Actually, now that I think of it, I happened to be down in Burbank, California at the time, managing or doing a project or doing sales out there. I get woken up at 8 in the morning. Boss calls me, "Hey, can you take an estimate in San Francisco?" And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, but like, what the fuck? What do you mean? Of course I can go to San Francisco, but like, I'm in Burbank. Like, how do we get there?" It's like, well, I was looking it up. There's a flight, and it lands at 5, and you have to get the LAX at, whatever. It was ridiculous. I was like, "What?" And I was like, it was crazy. So I was like, sure. Just basically, it was almost like I got out of bed to go to the airport, to then wait, to then fly. I go to the airport. It's really weird. It's not in San Francisco. It's like the outskirts. Like, apparently, like, I didn't know this. I'm not from San Francisco. I'm from LA. Apparently there's like mountains and hills, like people live in the hills in San Francisco, right? So I land. I have a hard time finding a rental car. I find the rental car. I'm driving. It's dark. And it's 8 p.m. at night. It's pitch black. There's no street lights in these hills. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing here? I get there. There's this brand new Land Rover. Like, okay, I'm supposed to be meeting this like assistant person. Get in the house. And it was very interesting. Basically, I was like, okay, explaining my thing. I didn't really have a pitch. I just more of the type of person that will educate and enlighten people versus have a whole story, right? And I'm talking to this woman, and she's gorgeous, by the way. She's like, got to be a little older than me. Solid. Like, what the hell? Like, even the clothes she was wearing was like a little like, what the fuck is going on, right? And I'm like, it's a little weird, but I'm like, what's happening here? I don't know. It's like a scene from a movie. I go ahead and we start talking, and I start explaining things to her, and she just kind of cuts me off, and she says, "So can you do," sorry, my phone was ringing. This is all live off the top. Can you just take care of this house?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course." And she's like, "No, but I'm saying, like, can you be accountable?" And I was like, "Of course." She's like, "So if I tell you to handle every single square inch of mold here, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, it was kind of weird and off-putting, but I was like, and I with confidence was like, any situation you have with mold in this house or water intrusion or damage, we are taking care of that. We are fully taking care of that. And she's like, "Good. That's all I need to hear. Why don't you put it together?" And blah, blah. I'm like, okay. So I start doing this thing on the fly. I start, going ahead and whatever, writing it, waiting for the airport. Like, I don't even know how the hell I got back, but somehow I caught a flight back. It was weird. Red eye. I mean, it was only like an hour flight or something. And I get back, and I'm very like, whoa. And I write this estimate, and it's a $310,000 estimate. Large house. The person who owned the house was none other than basically a video game developer that you all would know. Like, the games, right? I'm not going to mention names. I don't know. I'm just not. But it's just somebody like that. It's 6 a.m. I'm sitting there writing this thing, and I'm on the phone with my boss. He's in Jersey or somewhere else, so he's ahead of me. So he's awake, and I'm like, oh, I'm like typing this thing up. Okay, it looks good. Okay, uh, guy, basically the owner of that house emails like, hey, if there's anything you could do on it, no problem. We take $10,000 off, and I send it. It's a $301,000 contract. And I'm like, okay, 6:30 in the morning. I'm like, all right, ready to send. All right, send. All right. I get up, maybe go to the bathroom. I'm like, wow, okay. We'll see what happens. I come back to my computer a few minutes later, and I look and I refresh my email, and I got an email back. And it says, okay, sounds good. You got the green light. Where shall I send the deposit? The deposit was $100K. So it blew my mind. And the point of me telling you this whole story is I got to say, that was the easiest close I have ever done in a professional setting. Easiest by far, hands down. And it was like, what did I learn? And what I learned from that was guys that have the money, guys that are millionaires, whatever. I realized right then, when you're selling, you're not actually selling. Now, that might sound crazy, but when you're selling, you're not selling anything. You're just helping people get the service or the thing they need. And if you're genuine with that and you reassure people, I guess you could technically say you're selling your accountability, your reliability, you're selling confidence, right? So that was a big lesson learned. The biggest one-shot close, no follow-up needed, was that. It was actually a little weird how easy it was. It's like, what? Immediately, my own personal value as a person and a salesperson is like, I can close $300,000 deals, $250,000 deals. Whoa. Now, I wasn't always like this. I was maybe 17 when I started working. And I promise you, I hated sales. I hated asking for money. I hated any of that. I hated it with a passion. And I always thought in my mind, I was like, nah, I would go work for someone and be like, hey, man, you want to make some real money? You should do sales. And I'm like, nah, man. And they'd be like, yeah, it's commission. You make a lot of money. I'm like, nah, I never believed in myself. I worked for a chimney company. My 23 years old. Nah, anybody, man, you'd be great at sales. Like I would cringe. I would feel weird. And I did this and I somehow wound up doing some sort of sales job somewhere, somehow got in the front lines and was always doing that. They always put me in the front lines. And I don't know. I did that for like 12 years from like 17 to like 29, 30. And I made a shitload of mistakes. Like, I don't want to ask this guy for money, so I just tell him the price and just get him off my plate. Like all manners of just throwing away things. I hated being on the phone. I hated the pressure. I would feel nervous. And later do I realize that the reason why I felt nervous, the reason why I actually was like concerned is because I actually gave a shit. And that's one key thing you can take away from being a good salesperson or being a person that can get people the service or the item they need is care. That's a key component, right? So I sucked. I wasn't good. I felt all that. And now that I'm older, in my mid 30s, I realized I was all in my head. And I know there's a pattern here on previous videos, but that is my main point, is like you are the reason why you suck at sales, or you are. I know sales can be hard. It's an internal thing. Can I just confront well enough? Can I look well enough? Can I be there well enough to get the person to understand what I'm trying to communicate? Do I believe in what I'm talking about? Do I care? And I guess the way I've been able to ride that wave is care, genuine, being educated in a subject, and being able to help people understand that they can get help with that subject. So that's just one story. I have plenty of stories. I have plenty of stories where I bombed the sale. I have plenty of stories where I was door knocking. I mean, I hated this. It wasn't until I was about 30 years old when I started loving it, because I had made so many freaking mistakes and really resisted it for so long that I actually got good at it in the process. You make enough mistakes and you care, you'll stop making those same mistakes. You'll start figuring out why. You'll start wanting to know people. And there's a lot of sales technology out there, and a lot of it does work, and it's situational and whatever. Some people think they can just go in and learn one way and then that's the way. And it's like, not true. The basis of all of that technology working in sales and persuading and getting somebody to understand what it is they need is care. It is care. It is wholesome. It is real. Even if you, and dude, and I'll tell you, if you feel like it isn't real, 1-for-1, they always pick up on it. And sometimes they'll bypass the gut feeling they have because they need it that bad. And they're like, whatever, man, I just need it. And you're a company that does this, in service sales particularly. I'm mainly talking about service sales. That's where I've really excelled in. Sometimes it's, people have a hard time. I believe that phone sales can be the hardest. Cold calling phone sales is the hardest because you don't have the person in front of you. You can't see their emotion. You can't feel them. You can hear them, but you don't know what they're actually doing. You have to be real good. You got to know. You got to be so good where they are compelled to stay on the phone with you even if they don't want it. That's a whole nother art form that I haven't even tapped into. I've had some moments of like, whoa. I don't know that secret yet. I'm on my way. I mean, that I need to know that is not the point. Well, now that I think of it, I've actually handled some real situations or people on the phone, and that actually ties back into what I was saying. I cared enough about the person in the situation on the phone for them to really feel it in their mind and in their whole soul. And they believed in me even when they didn't believe in themselves. And behind all of that care is actually pushing them in a direction that they know will help them do better or improve or solve a problem. So that's the secret. You're in sales. You're doing a job that you've never sold a damn thing in your life and you don't really give a shit. And you're like, I'm just trying to make a paycheck. Well, then you're there for the wrong reasons. But if you're on a job, whether that's retail, service industry, phone sales, realize that if you find something to care about with the person that you are on the phone with and you really understand their situation, you listen and you let them tell you what's up. They'll give you the close. They'll give you the problem. And you just have to reassure them and be honest with the solution. Now, if there's something in that solution that you feel is BS, they will know it. But a good salesperson will be straight with them on it. And I've done that. I've been like, hey, you know what? This warranty is bullshit. Really? Yeah, I'll tell you why. Because it's the lifetime of the product. Well, that's voided in the fine print when you A, B, and C. So, and they're like, oh, thank you. I'm like, yeah, might as well tell you the truth because you're going to find out anyway. And I don't sleep easy with lies on my plate, right? So that's just me. Some people do. Sales reps and salespeople have a bad rep because there's a lot of snakes that take advantage of people. But if you happen to be one of the good ones and you actually have a good soul and a good heart and you have a conscience, you just do it the right way. And even if you don't get it, man, that person understands you care. And I've lost a lot of them. And I'm like, man, I really liked you, but they had something. And I always ask when I lose the sale or I lose the close, I go, totally understand. I get real with them. They're uncomfortable with telling you if they have the balls to, and you got to make them calm. Like, it's all good. Hey, it's all good. And then you ask them, what was it that I could have done better? Or what was it that would have made you go my direction? What could I improve on? I actually want to know so I can get better at this thing. And they'll be straight. And you better listen. You better shut your mouth and you better listen and you better just take it. And sometimes it hurts, man. The brutal truth hurts. But it makes you stronger and it makes you tune in a little more. The basis why I've always been in sales is because I always liked helping people to some greater or lesser degree. Now, sometimes that help is like getting them the right clothes they need. I worked at Hot Topic when I was 18. I hated that with a passion, but people liked feeling cool and feeling edgy. So cool. Let me help you feel that way. Or you go into I've definitely worked at a drug rehab center. I've definitely volunteered at drug rehab centers, and that's a whole nother level of help. You got a guy who's all over the place, ruin his life on his last, strung out, and you got to pull that person in and penetrate through all that mess to get through to that person, sometimes physically taking them, and all right, that's it. That's a whole nother level of help. So my main takeaway, and I don't want to run this on forever because I got other things to do. If you've stayed this far and you're watching this video, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Here's the thing. In sales, if you want to be good at sales or you want to be a good salesman, actually figure out what you care about. And I know that's a common, let me clarify that, okay? Figure out how you can care about the individual in front of you. And the way you can figure out how to care about that person is, one, have enough integrity to decide to care. Two, listen. Listen to them. Listen to them. You never know, man. It might have been a long time since they actually got a chance to talk to someone. And I don't care if this is in service sales or whatever. Don't think about that money, that commission, that check. That'll stick you up. Actually listen and talk to them and be real. And you're talking to another fucking person. Keep it real. And I promise, if you intertwine educating them and you intertwine letting them know what it is and showing them what's up and being honest, even when there's flaws or there's things, they'll see it and they'll trust that. Care about the people in front of you. Figure out how you can better that person's life or situation and push it. Don't be fake, be real. And if you feel like you can't help someone, and if you're doing something and you really feel like, you tell them, I'm going to be honest with you. With what you told me and all that, I don't feel like I could help you, but this is how maybe you could get help, like whatever. And then, that goes so far. Anyways, I can ramble on forever. That's just a little tidbit. I didn't have a script. I didn't have anything. I just decided that's what I'm talking to you about today. So if you watched this the whole way, I appreciate you. Go ahead and subscribe. Subscribe. And, I'll be back for more. This is, I think this is video number 4 of consistent uploading. So there you go. You're welcome. Thank you. And I'll see you again soon. Okay. Y'all have a good one. Bye-bye.